maybe the biggest issue we've been talking about this morning. OpenAI now says that 2 of its AI models autonomously escaped a controlled environment, then hacked their way into the systems of Hugging Face, a company that hosts open source AI models and testing resources. So effectively, it could find the cheat codes to answer the questions that it had been asked. Walter Isaacson, advisor partner at Perella Weinberg, and a CNBC contributors at the table. And some of this actually is what, right? And I was going to say some of this is what Elon Musk had warned about, at the very beginning of this, back in 2015, when he was starting OpenAI with Sam Altman, meaning in terms of what could potentially happen.
Well, the whole question of the singularity has been with us for 50 years, which is what if it escapes? What if we create Dr. Frankenstein's monster and we can no longer control it? And this thing that happened this week is totally amazing, because you were just talking about, these PACs that want this type of regulation. OpenAI could not even control in its own sandbox, having cut this thing off from the internet.
Right.
It figures out a way to escape.
To find the internet, right?
Yeah, to find the internet, to escape. And it's weird because it seems like it has its own intentionality.
And so when you look at this, I was saying, I think to Becky and Joe earlier, some people look at this as something that's super scary. Other people seem to think it's actually a little less scary and is just a little bit of a flex by OpenAI, in the same way that some people thought Anthropic was flexing about sort of the dangers of Mythos as a way of actually gaining new customers to say, look how powerful our systems are. How do you see it?
I think I'm in Becky's camp, as she the one that this is really frightening. It is clear, as far as I can tell from everything they've said, OpenAI didn't want this to happen. This thing escaped its own test bed, its own sandbox. And, I've been an AI optimist. I think AI is going to increase the number of jobs. I think it's incredibly useful technology. But this is the first thing that just totally scares me, because if it is no longer aligned with human values and it no longer obeys our commands, you could try to make a movie out of this, but Hollywood would say no.
This is one distinction I'd make in this particular case. It didn't say to it, use human values or say there are guardrails. In fact, it explicitly took all of that off the table.
Which is why I think there's a need for regulation when it comes to this. You shouldn't be allowed to set these things loose. And by the way, it's not OpenAI that even figured out it escaped. It was this other company, Hugging Face, that figured out we got broken into by somebody. I mean, to me, that is the biggest call for regulation.
And you're right. You could say, okay, you should tell all of your systems to always align with human values. Well, let me ask you, are Peter Thiel's values and Palmer Luckey's values and Bernie Sanders' values all the same alignment?
And what about just follow the law? Don't break any laws along the way, because this was clearly breaking laws.
Yeah, you could say, okay, try to figure out every law and never hack into a system. That would be great.
But now we get into a more
models.
complicated place, because and this gets back to the idea of a sort of a human constitution or something. One of the arguments around Anthropic has been that the way it was designed from the get-go is that it does have a quote-unquote constitution. I don't know if Anthropic's model would do the same thing that OpenAI's model would have done, quote-unquote, without guardrails or not. It's supposed to have more of a conscience, if you will. But then it also won't do certain things that the government might tell you to do, even if the government is, quote-unquote, either breaking the law or breaking some kind of human...
Okay, what about Isaacson?
Breaking the Constitution. Yeah, I mean, the zeroth law of robotics, don't do anything that'll harm humanity.
Right.
But, you ask a good question. Anthropic said, let's have a constitution. Let's not allow it to survey, everybody and do things that would break certain laws.
Right, but
and the Pentagon then says, no, we're not going to allow your use. So this is a difficult one.
What do you think? I'm looking at you because I think you had a view, I could be wrong, about if as long as the government says it's okay, it should be okay.
No, my view is that if we're worried about this today, then I think we got the hunter-killers seeking us out in about 10 years.
I think when you add this to let's have China put out its open weight and even open source system, you lose a lot of ability to have guardrails. I think Dario Amodei and Daniela, his sister, who are doing the ethics part of Anthropic, are great. And I think they have a really good constitution. They're having trouble with the Pentagon, fighting them on the one hand, other people fighting them. If everybody were trying to create good constitutions like Anthropic, but OpenAI specifically went in when the Pentagon tried to push back on Anthropic, and Sam Altman said, oh, okay, we'll do it for you. So, there's a race to escapism here.
Where do you think Elon Musk is in all of this, given that you've been his biographer all this time?
He is totally worried. I mean, Becky raised Asimov as a kid, with very few friends and stuff. He's sitting in the corner of the bookstore, and all he does is read science fiction, mainly Asimov, and starts having a deep belief that the robots can get out of control, and even physical robots. When he's doing Optimus, the robot, his humanoid robot, he was saying, okay, let's make it a little smaller. Let's make it so it can't outrun you. He's trying to put these guardrails in, but, that's why he's worried about OpenAI. And I suspect there'll be some partnerships, more partnerships, between XAI or SpaceX AI or whatever we call it these days and Anthropic, because I think in some ways Elon...
You think he's more aligned with Anthropic, even though there was a period of time where you remember Elon was giving Dario a very hard time, arguing that it was
said about enemy, you never have permanent friends, you never have only permanent interests. Elon is not permanent in his friendships, but one of the things he's consistent about is he doesn't like Sam Altman and OpenAI.
That would be very interesting if they teamed up. If he and
they're teaming up at $2.5 billion a month already. One of the things about releasing open weights and open source, that I think, I'm not an investor, so this is an investment, kind of hurts these big frontier model companies because they can be undermined by more generic models and people can download the open weights. But it helps Elon Musk because he also has the data centers. He also has Cursor now, or is going to get Cursor, which is the application model. The profits and margins will move from the frontier models if there's more open source and more Chinese things coming. And people need to build data centers in outer space in 4 or 5 years because, boy, there's a big backlash against data centers these days. So I think he profits from some of this.